graduated from Alabama State University 2010. Then a couple of years later, you were fortunate enough to be offered an internship at the White House under the President Obama administration. Tell us about that.
I graduated undergrad in December of 2010. Came back to Chicago, taught as a teacher, after school teacher for a year, and did some retail work. And I'm like, oh, this is good, making consistent money. But I'm like, it's time for something else. So in the fall of 2011, just 6 months out of graduation, I said, hey, I'm going to apply for internships. I'm going to apply for graduate school. I'm going to apply for new jobs. I'm going to apply for Teach for America. And I got everything but a new job. Made it to the final round of Teach for America interviews at Deloitte. Got accepted to 2 graduate schools, and I was offered the White House internship. And I'm like, how many times do you get to work for the first black president? So I said, well, take my savings, and I'm going to pick up, and I'm going to drive to Washington, D.C. And that's what I did in January of 2012. I took my savings. Thank God I was saving. And I told my family. My aunt had a going away concert to raise money for me to make sure I had money to move. And I left. And I moved in with a college friend. He had a 1-bedroom apartment. I slept on a air mattress. And 2 days later, I started the internship.
Oh, wow. So you just picked up and left. Drove all the way to Washington.
Me and another friend.
Wow. So how did that opportunity mold and shape you into the man that you are today?
It changed my life. I saw how public service is first a career and a field to work in, but also how you can move thousands. That was the biggest wow moment, seeing this powerful being speak. And just watching how people just sit there just drooling. And I remember the first time I saw him when I got there, he got out of his helicopter and he walked towards all the interns. And he was like, hello, y'all. Just really cool. And we hi, President Obama. Hi. And he went into the White House and we went back to our offices to work. And after 5 months as an intern, they hired me on as a White House staffer as an advanced associate, and I was able to travel this great country on behalf of President Obama doing government logistics.
I mean, you are the example that especially young black brothers nowadays need. And I see everything that you do within the community, and it just takes patience to do what you do. I mean, I see that you got a passion for it. What does this passion and everything that you put into it, where does it come from?
I get asked that question all the time, and I honestly don't know. I know it's God. In 2008, while on the campus of Alabama State University, I always tell this story is that I remember walking to class and God clearly spoke and said, Derrick, go be a servant. And a servant, God, servants don't make no money. At the time, I wanted to go to Hollywood, become the next Spike Lee. I want to be a movie director. That was my initial goal in my early 20s, to go to Hollywood, become a movie director. And he said, you're going to be a servant. And I kept on walking to class I'm going to this communication class, and I'm about to get this comm degree, and I'm going to Hollywood. And then again, in 2011, he said, you're going to be a servant. And I just started as a young community leader, as an academic coach in Roseland, one of the toughest communities, and just working with young black boys of color. That was awesome. And I had the opportunity while at the White House to travel back to Chicago a few times and get involved in the community and telling my story. And when I officially moved back to Chicago in the summer of 2013, after, my goal was to go to graduate school, and I did. And after I get my master's degree, go back to D.C. to continue my job at the White House. But God was like, no, you're going to stay in Chicago. So the thing is, I know my upbringing. I didn't come from money. We had enough. My basic needs were met, but my things, I want to create opportunities for any and everybody. I wake up every day with the goal to touch at least one person to help transform their lives. If I have 1 minute of your time, I'm going to make sure it's the most transformational 1 minute of your time possible. I don't mind pouring, and sometimes you pour on E, and then every so often God gas you up. And you're ready to go for the next 6 months, and then you get on E&E. It's just I get so much. I will serve to the end of time, and when I get that smile, or I see how someone has now changed the trajectory of their life, that's my reward. My reward is not always tangible in finances or in money. Like that's gonna come. That's gonna come. My reward is seeing that your life has shifted for the better. Anytime I have a talk, I go out and do a talk or a speaking engagement, I always end with 3 things. You're destined for greatness, you're birthed with the purpose, and you have a light that shines, so shine on, king or queen.
So what do you say to a young black brother from, different types of neighborhoods in Chicago, impoverished neighborhoods that feel as if there's nothing out here for them to really grab them? Because sometimes it's very difficult to grab a young mind.
I don't say nothing. I listen. I don't say anything. I listen. I listen to the silence. I listen to the actions. I watch. I observe how they interact, and then I approach. And I ask a simple question: Why? Why do you choose to do that? And they be like, man, Joe, what you mean? What you mean? Why? I'm like, why did you choose to do this? Because I bet any amount of money that regardless of the household you currently live in, nobody wants you to do this. And I bet all the money in your pocket, I bet all the money in my pocket right now, every credit card, that if you had everything your way, you wouldn't do this. If your life was all it could be, you wouldn't do this. So the question is, if everything was right, what would you do? And they were like, man, I want to, be in an MBA or be a doctor, or I just want to work on cars. Like they all have a goal and a dream, but because they can't see to tomorrow, they're just trying to see to the next hour. They don't understand that what they're doing now affects them 5, 10, 20 years from now. So I listen to their stories. I help them find a connection to the root cause. Then I help them develop a plan or execution on how, like, regardless of your household, regardless of what you're going through, you can't change that right now. I always talk around control, because I used to have some serious control issues around controlling life. And I say, we can't control life. The only thing in life you can't control is how you respond to it. So let's change what we think. Your mama is a drug abuser. Your father's not present. Your grades are horrible. That's your reality right now. But how can we change that? It starts with you. So regardless of what you want to do in life, there's a level of education that comes with it. When I'm out doing my education work or my community or philanthropy work, I always talk around everyone's not destined for college, but everyone's destined for success. So I teach on post-secondary pathways. It can be 4-year college, 2-year college, trade school, military, workforce. I don't care what it is. You have to do something with every stage of all of those things. There's a level of education, so you can't escape it.
Now, do you work with young women as well, or is it just young men around the Chicagoland area?
I mean, mostly I mentor and do a lot of work around young men, but a lot when I do my workshops through my business or my company, it's very diverse. And sometimes my workshop is not even all African American. I have workshops where it's very diverse: Latino, Asian, Hispanic, Indian. I've worked with them all. I've been blessed. Years ago, I was introduced to a company by the name of College Summit, based out of Washington, D.C., and that 18 and 19-year-old out of Chicago, they allowed me to travel this country. Like, I've been blessed to be introduced to some things that changed my trajectory of life, where I was able to meet all these different demographics. So there's not a young person, although my preference is my people and will forever be. But I want to change nations.
Now, speak of business, you are a business owner.
I am.
Young black entrepreneur. Speak a little bit about TGL, the Jet Enterprises LLC.
Yes. So I'm the owner of, like you just stated, TGL, also known as the Gent Enterprise LLC. It is a social enterprise consulting and partnerships firm that focuses on project management and coaching. 10% of every dollar that is raised through our consulting fees goes to support community youth programming and youth and their families, both locally, nationally, and the goal in the next 2 years to go globally. And with the premise that I understand how organizations work, and I understand that there's a lot of systems that's being built to support our community. But I want to be that consultant or that partner that comes in and say, hey, I understand the community you're trying to go into, or I understand the demographic you're trying to attack or support. But let me open your eyes to the fullness how you need to support them. So when I go into these companies and I do consultation or I do consulting work, it's around how to really allow them to reach their bottom line, fulfill their mission statement, maximize their funding dollars. That's what I do as a consultant. The other piece to TGL is TGL Cares, and that's our philanthropy arm that allows us to give out scholarships and award financial stipends around trying to get your college fees or your book fees or graduation from high school fees or prom fees. Or we just develop free workshops where youth come in, or I go out and train young professionals on how to really maximize your gifts. So that's what TJ Cares does. It allows us to really give back, expose, and launch young people to be what they was destined to be.
You a young brother with you got your own company and everything like that, but you're not selfish. You say you get 10% back to others. A lot of people start companies just, how can I make a profit? How can I get this? How can I get that? How fast can I be a millionaire? But you got a heart to give back. And a lot of people just don't have that. I mean, what else would you say to, especially young black men out there that wants to become a business owners? What piece of advice would you give them?
Maximize your gifts. There are so many ways to make money. There are so many businesses being birthed every year. But what are your gifts? One of the guys that I've marked, Pastor Hannah, I go to New Life Covenant Southeast, and one thing Pastor Hannah said during the Joshua gathering is mark the people who you want to emulate. And Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher out of Detroit, in one of his talks, he spoke about focusing on what you're great at, and later in life, focus on the things you're good and okay at. What I would tell young entrepreneurs is that find that thing you're great at, and how can you really perfect that thing. I know for me, it's my voice. It's my creativity. It's my organization and structure. Like, those are things I know I'm great at. And that's one of the things I know I'm good and okay at. And I may dabble in those things from time to time, but I don't spend a lot of energy there because it's not perfected. Allow your foundation to be laid. Allow your gifts to be that foundation, and then surround your network. Your network is your self-worth. It's your launching pad. So get out your community, get out your hood, get out your comfort zone, and go into those areas where maybe people that don't look like you, and hold your head high. I remember when I was at the White House, I had a senior staffer stop me in the hallway. His name was also Derrick, ironically. And he was like, "What's your name?" And I'm like, "I'm Derrick Fleming Jr." He was like, "You an intern?" I'm like, "Yes, from Chicago, Illinois. I work in office of scheduling and events." He was like, "I've been watching you the past couple weeks." And I said, "Thank you." I said, "What have you observed?" He said, "You're supposed to be here." He said, "You're not walking with your head down in between your tail tucked between your legs like the rest of the intern. You command authority to come to you." He said, "I just want to continue to make sure you maximize that." And he said, "You're also a humble spirit. Like you're soaking in this opportunity." So I tell entrepreneurs that when you are blessed to be in the atmosphere, still be humble. Like Kendrick Lamar say, sit down and be humble. You're blessed to be there. And I understand that I'm blessed to be here every day. And thing is, if you're a spiritual person if God, I was just telling this to one of my mentees today, if God sent his only son to this earth and they didn't have a clean, easy path and they was crucified, you're a gift from God birthed on this earth. What makes you think your path is going to be any easier than Jesus? And that's what I say. Like, yeah, I have a nice home. Yeah, I'm able to do things, but I still have my mistakes. My family's not the best, so I'm still helping them get up where they're supposed to be. And sometimes I do have to take time for myself and say no, but I understand. You know, I'm blessed to be where I am. So those are some things I say to young entrepreneurs.
You're very focused. Tell us about your day. What do you do when you first wake up in the morning? Because it seems like you don't waste no time. You ain't got no time for mess. How do you start your day, and how do you end it?
Okay. So I start my day. First, I say, thank you, God, for waking me up. Then it's time to hit the ground running. So after I say, thank you, God, wake me up, I may not do a long prayer. I may just say that simple statement, and just so he can hear my voice every day. And I check my calendar. I live with my digital calendar. So I see, what are my meetings for today? Are they at the office? Are they at a certain part of the city? Because I work full time as well. I work full time as well, but I check my calendar first. So I see what my day is, and based on that, that's how I dress for the day. If I have to be very corporate, I do very corporate. I can be casual, I do casual. If I'm doing youth engagement stuff, I dress based on the demographic I'm going into, because I understand, how they read people. And I hit the ground running. So it may be me going to the office and in some meetings, checking some emails, doing some things like that, simultaneously checking TGL emails as well, making sure my business stays afloat, checking in with my assistant, making sure she's doing stuff for TGL, checking in with my staff, my full-time job, making sure they're together, going to lunch. While I'm on lunch, sending emails, making business calls, preparing for meetings that I have after work. Get back in the office, do some more work, some more meetings, checking in with staff, emails, phone calls, conference calls. Then once 5 o'clock hit, it's second shift, TGL work. So it may be the networking event. I may be hosting an event. I may be preparing for a weekend of events that I have going on, or preparing for an upcoming talk, or going to present somewhere. And I probably don't make it home based on what my nightly activities are until after 9, 10 o'clock. So I come in the house and I'm like, first thing you gotta do is decompress. So I sit for, a few seconds. God knows me and I love my heart. I may have a sip of wine or a sip of whiskey just to settle myself for a second or two. And then I go into third shift. And third shift can be me checking more emails. Around midnight, between 1 and 2 in the morning is when creativity strikes. And I may just, hammer it out very quickly. Sometimes God say, go to sleep, and I go to sleep. Based on the physical regimen that I have that month, I maybe, do a nightly gym activity, or I get up extra early in the morning and go to the gym. But that's my day. Every day is shifts. Every day is based on what my calendar says. And then networking. So I also try to put in at least 2 to 3 networking events a week. Because again, my goal is to make sure my brand is international. And it's in 2018, it's going national. By 2020, if not sooner, I want it international.
Bro, I'm tired. I'm tired just listening to it. I don't do that much throughout the week. And you just gave me a whole spiel of what your day is. But that's what's up. That's what's up. I mean, that's what it takes to be successful, because you never know who's looking at you. You, like I say, you inspire me right now to really, hit the ground and just go. Yeah. So we're gonna close with this. Is there anything that you want people out there to take away from this interview? Any last remarks that you want to tell them?
Go after your dreams. It's 2018, and like I said, my pastor, I don't think I said this, my pastor declared this year of pursuit. And allow 2018 be the year you pursue it all. Whatever you want to do, get up and do it. Do it afraid. I don't care how fearful it may seem. I don't care if you don't understand where the finances are going to come, but plan it out. One of the formulas that I curated is called 2P plus E: plan, prepare, execute. Let's plan it out. Once we develop that plan, let's prepare it, and then let's execute it. This is our year to go after everything God told us we can do. So develop those, 3 goals that are smart. Some smart goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time bound. Develop those 3 major SMART goals, and then let's develop some nuggets, some small goals. Those small rocks, as my CEO call it. Those small rocks that lead you towards the big rock, which is that SMART goal, or the 3 SMART goals. That's what I would say. Let's beast out 2018. Beast mode on.
Tell the people where they can find you. Social media.
Yeah. So you can find me on Twitter or Instagram at Derrick the Gent. You can find me on Facebook at Derrick M. Fleming Jr. LinkedIn, Derrick M. Fleming Jr. Snapchat, the Gent 1987. Yeah, I think I gave you all my handles.
I'm D Ward. This is my man Derrick the Gent Marcel Fleming Jr. We're out.